Hey everyone, and welcome to today's live stream. Welcome to Everything Webflow, where every Monday through Thursday we go over how to build websites in Webflow and cover anything related to Webflow and web design and web development. So yeah, just gonna wait for a few more viewers to trickle in. I do have a pretty fun topic to cover today. Yesterday I mentioned I was going to go over, and actually let me stop viewing myself there. So yesterday I mentioned I was going to go over SVG Gator, which I did. And yeah, so let me see here. Actually, let me grab this over here. Okay, that's better. All right, so yesterday I mentioned I was going to go over SVG Gator, which is this here. And I messed with it for a little bit, but it does look like you'll need a paid plan to use a lot of the features. So rather than using a paid plan, I decided to just build the animation I wanted to in After Effects. I know After Effects is a little bit more involved, but it does provide a lot more advanced features. And if you have the Creative Cloud, you don't need to pay for it. Hi, Manuel. Great to see you again, for sure. And yeah, so yesterday I mentioned I wanted to create something like this with the slider and, with the circle. So I'm on my way to actually creating something like this. And yeah, so I'm getting close to finishing this. So right now, this is the kind of prototype that I've created. So you can see we have that circle, and then it reveals an image in the background. So, maybe in this live stream, I'll go over how I created this, and maybe we can start getting close to this type of effect that we see here on Code Drops. And once I show you the technique that I'm using to create this, you can do other things like, like this animation, which is super cool, or this one. So it's definitely like a really unique way to show a slider. It's just really, really nice. So I love this effect. It's not something I've seen quite a lot in web design. So, to be able to showcase how to do this, I'm super excited about, because yeah, you only need After Effects and Webflow, and you can build something like this. So far, this is what it looks like in Webflow. If I preview, we have this, and all I would need to do is replace this background image with a slider. And basically, whenever I click the next slide, I could have this Lottie animation play forward and reverse. So when the next slide, or when the first slide goes out, the animation plays in reverse, and when the next slide comes in, the animation plays forward. So yeah, and basically the way that I did this was in After Effects. I just created a composition that looks like this, and then I added a mask. So in here we have this mask, which is the circle, and I set it to subtract. And one thing with After Effects and Lottie doesn't support too many features in Webflow, or masking features, and it doesn't support animating the expansion. So if I were to change the expansion, like we can see, or actually my face is in the way, so let me move my face up here. And yeah, so if I were to, use this expansion option, so let me backtrack a little bit. So we have this shape layer, and in the shape layer, I added a mask, and in the mask, we have these different properties like mask path, feather, opacity, and expansion. So mask path is what you would use if you wanted to animate, like if you wanted to do like the diamond shape effect. So like, hold on. So here on Code Drops, if I wanted like this this type of effect, I would work with the path. I would animate the mask path. But since it's just a circle for this, I just want to animate the circle. Like I just want to make the circle bigger and smaller. So this essentially could work, but I tried it, and it doesn't support the After Effects doesn't support the mask expansion option. So what I did instead is I scaled the entire shape layer, the entire rectangle. So here I just took it and scaled it, and that gives us the same effect. So that circle just gets larger, and once I scaled it, we can see the mask portion gets larger, and it worked really well for the effect. All right, so I'll start building this from scratch, or let's just go over it now. This might actually be fun to just try to build the slider, and then we'll jump back into the website build. So we're currently building this website. This shouldn't take too long to finish. We just have a few more sections. So let me zoom in here. Yeah, we just have this partner section, the testimonial section, this section, and then this footer. I think this footer should have an image, but the image seems to be missing, so that's okay. So let's just try to create or trigger this Lottie animation with a slider, and just to see what that looks like. If I don't get it down perfect today, then I'll continue it tomorrow. But this is currently what I'm working on, and this will be a free interaction once I get the design right and I get everything working correctly. I'll be able to offer this as a free interaction in my profile. So you can clone it, kind of mess with it, and things like that. So what I want to do in this div block, I'm just going to add a slider, and I'm going to set the slider to a position of absolute and full. And then I'll set the height to a minimum height of 100 VH, so it fills the entire viewport. And then in the slider, so in slide 1, and let me hide this Lottie animation for now, so I'll just grab it and hide it. So for slide 1, I'm going to add an image. So let's just go to unsplash.com, and I'll just download a few images. Let's pick a topic. Anyone want to throw a topic for today's video? Let's see, we have robots, abstract. You can pick any topic, lions, any topic you want as far as the images. Lions, I don't know why I default to lions. I guess they're just majestic and big and cool. I should pick my, I have a blue healer. So yeah, let's just go with blue healers. That's a cool topic. Mine it doesn't look quite like this. It acts like this sometimes. Oh, this is a cool picture. So we'll download this one, and yeah, they're good dogs. And this one's cool. So we'll download those two. All right, girls, Manuel. All right, so open with preview. I'm just gonna resize these. Tools, adjust size, and I'll set it to, I'll say 1920. And this one as well, adjust size. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so I'll drag these into Webflow. They're still kind of big, these images, so I'd probably run them through compress. Actually, they're not bad. One's 600 kilobytes, so I like to keep my images around 300 kilobytes. So let me just add these images, and I'll add this image, choose the image. We'll pick this one, set it to cover, and the dog has a big tongue, and this one, cover. All right, cool. This dog looks like it's running, but it's not. It's just laying down. All right, cool. So we have those two images. If I use the slider, perfect. Um, hey John, hey Manuel. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? How's it going? Yeah, so I'm just covering this like interesting Lottie animation that I'm working on. Um, so it's gonna do something like this. So it reveals basically what I'm trying to do is like have the circle contract when we go to another slide and have it expand when there's a new image, and it's inspired off this code drops um, animation here. So cool. So let's just work with the slider transitions. Let's set it to um, let's set it to slide over. Let's see what that does. Slide over. Yeah, it's not bad. No, we'll just do slide. I think there's a way to make it slide from the bottom to the top, but I think it requires custom code. So I won't get into that right now. So we have the slide, easing ease. That looks good. So let's bring back this Lottie animation. I'll set it to display block. And so we have the slider, and then let me give it a high Z index so it comes to the front. Okay, cool. So for the slider, we'll select the slider here. Let's go into interactions. Let's add an element trigger, and then I'll select, it should be, so I have to select the slide. So slide, and then I'll do, and let me close this down here. I'll do slider change right here. So when the slider comes into view, so we have the slider in view, and let me move my face again. Let me move it down here. Okay, cool. So I'll backtrack because my face was in the way. So we'll select the first slide, add an element trigger. I'll say slider change. So when the slider changes, we're going to do slider in view. We're going to start an animation. I'll click the plus, and we'll do slider in. And then we'll select the Lottie animation. And when the slider comes in, we're going to play the Lottie animation to 100%. And we don't want any easing, so let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good, because we already added easing in After Effects. Slider out of view, start animation. We'll just duplicate this slider in, select it, and I'll call this slider out. When the slider goes out of view, we're going to set it to 0%. Let's see how that looks. Oh, okay. So I have the slider arrows, I have to bring it above the Lottie animation. So I want to give it like a Z index of 199, the right arrow and the left arrow and the right arrow. So let's see how this looks. Boom. Okay, so I have to give both of these slides the same class name. So let me say slide, and then I'm going to give it a combo class of 2 for the second one, and then change the image. Okay, let's see if this works. In, out, not quite. So let's see. Oh, and I have to, for the interaction, let's apply it to the class, right? So now both of these slides have the same class. So let's see if this works. Okay, it doesn't quite work. Okay, so the reason it doesn't work is because when it slides in, it plays the Lottie animation. So they're essentially canceling each other out. So let's see what's the best way to approach this. So when the slide comes in, we have it animate. And when the slide goes out, it animates out. So let's see how they did it here. So okay, so slider in, slider out. Okay, so slider in, let's see. Okay, slider in, we want it to play 100%. Oh, wait a sec, slider out, 0%. Okay. So slider in, let's set the Lottie animation, let's set it to 0% initially. And we'll set it as the initial state. So let's see if this works. No, that does not work. So let's just apply it to an element. Okay, so slider. This is interesting. Okay, so initially, I think I got it. So there's not going to be any animation for the slider in. So we'll just remove the slider in, but on slider out, we want it to we want it to, let's see. So I'll select the Lottie animation. We want it to play to 100%. No, wait, let's see. Yeah, play 100% and then play. How about putting the full animation in and out in the Lottie animation and then apply a trigger animation on the slider arrows to run animation? That's a great idea, Manuel. I like that idea a lot. I'm going to try a little bit more with this animation because I think we can get it working. So initially, let's see. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, so initially we want it to be at 100%. So can I set this as the initial state? Okay, I have an idea. Let's start, so slider in view, slider in. So we're going to start it at 100%. And we're going to set it as the initial state. So initially it starts like this. And on slider out, we're going to we're going to go to 100% and then back to 0%. Or is it the other way around? I'm going to go to 0% and then to 100%. No, I think I had that right. 100%, which is fully expanded, then 0%, and then back to 100%. Okay. Yeah, I like your idea, Manuel. We might try that. So let's see. Yeah, so just thinking out loud here. So initially when we scroll out, yeah, I think there might be a way to do it this way. So I select an action. And there should be a delay. Wrong trigger. I think you need to apply 100% and 0% on the same slide. 100% and 0% on the same slide. Possibly. Yeah, 100% and 0% on the same slide. Yeah, I think you might be right. Hold on. So let's see here. So this is see the slide. So it animates. So initially, I might write this down. So step 1 is, and you know what? Yeah, this, I just started working on this today. So, do you focus on Webflow or this just topic, today's top? Or no, we're gonna finish building this Figma file today, Kendall. And yeah, so but we're still working in Webflow. We're just working with like an advanced type of interaction here. But we'll work another like 5 minutes on this, but it's just a nice little brain teaser we're working on as far as like getting this animation to look like this. So yeah, initially I want it to be at 100% because the way I built it in After Effects, and I might have to rebuild it in After Effects, 100% is when the circle is expanded. So I want to start it at 100%. And that's why I'm thinking that we need a slider in animation to start initially at 100%. So that part looks good. So if I preview, we have that. But you know what? I think I have to rebuild it in After Effects. And I like Manuel's idea of animating the entire thing in After Effects. So let's quickly do that because I think that's the solution. So let's go into After Effects, and I'm going to start like this. I'm going to initially start it so it's expanded, and then we're going to go and shrink it. So I'm going to go 15 frames, and then I'll extend the length of this animation, and let me move my face again. So I have to remember to move my face here. And all right, so we set to 1 second. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this keyframe. Oops, undo that. I'll copy this keyframe and just paste it at the 1 minute mark or 1 second mark, and then add one more keyframe here. Just extend it out to one more keyframe if I can. It's not letting me grab it. There we go. Okay. Yeah, cool. So it's going to start expanded, shrink down, and then expand again. So yeah, I think that looks good. So let's go ahead and export this. So animate window, extensions, body moving. And let's go ahead and render it. So I'll render, done. Open my assets panel and desktop, and I'll just drag and drop this JSON file, and let's replace this Lottie animation. So let's see if I can select it. So data preserve aspect ratio. I changed this setting here so I could, or let's just delete, no. Yeah, set it to none. Why can't I grab the Lottie file? Set it to 100%. Or wait, I can just go in here. Yeah, okay, cool. Replace Lottie sequence. We'll select this. Yeah, that's gonna be it. This is gonna be cool. I'm excited about this. All right, so slide. So when the slide comes in, so I don't think we need to do a slide out animation. So let's just, remove that. So when the slider comes in, we're going to play the Lottie animation, and let's make it 1 second. And okay, let me save this. Oh yeah, let me apply it to the class so that every slide has the animation. So we'll fix this initial slide to see. Thanks for the response. Will this be available later to watch? I'm new to watch lives on YouTube. Yep, after it's done, it's immediately available on my YouTube channel. So let's preview. Oh, that's fun. It's not working. What's going on here? Slider in, Lottie animation, 100%. Do I need to give it an initial state? Maybe. So initially we start at 0. Set as initial state. What is happening? Oh, I see. I got it. Yeah, okay. Slider out. Wait, start an animation. Slider out. I think we need to set this one to 0%. Duration 0 and Lottie animation 0%. So I think we need to reset it very quickly when the slider goes out, and then it'll play again right away when the slider comes in, I think. So we have this. No. Slider out of view. Okay, we'll spend a few more minutes on this, and then let me remove this initial state. So it plays to 100%. And it's applied to both slides. Huh. Yeah. Slider in. Let's just change this to 2 seconds, and then for the slide, duration 5. Doop. It needs to start. Okay, so start. So maybe I need to do something like this. Lottie. Yeah, 0% to 100%, and not have it be an initial state. Boom, boom. Oh, we're getting there. All right, just a few more minutes. I feel we're getting very close. So I think we just need a slider in animation. We don't need the slider out. Yeah, so let me remove this. Let's see, slider in. Oh, wait. If you apply it on the arrows instead of the slides, then the in and out sliders would not affect each other. Oh. You got some good stuff, Manuel. It's dope. Yeah. That's genius. You got some skills, man. I'm be curious to see some of your sites for sure. So you seem very knowledgeable about interactions. So props to Manuel. Yeah. Let me just spend a little bit, like 2 more minutes with the slide animation just to see if I can get it working. But yeah, that does seem, because the slide in and the slide out variables seem seem to kind of affect each other. Yeah, that's genius. I think that's gonna work. Yeah, let's go with that, because right now I'm getting caught between the slide in and out, and it's not fully making sense to me. So let's go ahead and remove this interaction from the slide, and let's apply it to the right and left arrows. So when we click on the right arrow, so we click, I'll do a mouse click interaction, start an animation. Still learning, but can show you some pages soon, for sure. Sounds good. Slide. Okay, so slider in, and we're just gonna play the Lottie animation. Yeah, to let's see, to 100%. Let's see. Yeah, that's gonna work. And I think we need to, this might be what I was missing in the slider too, but I think we need to reset it to 0% at the end. So we need to reset it when we go to the next slide. So boom. We did it. Very nice. So the only thing, let's see. Oh, the circle moves up. I didn't realize that. Huh. So I didn't realize the circle moved up. That's wild. This is a wild animation. So I'll have to rebuild it in After Effects, where because right now, and it might not work exactly because the slider is going up and down. In order for me to create a slider like this that goes up and down, I wouldn't use the slider at all. I would use interactions to move an image in and out of a div block up and down, and then trigger the animation kind of with like previous and next arrows, how Manuel mentioned. So let's see if we can find a better slider transition that might work more with this animation. So for the animation, let's do not crossfade. Maybe let's try it. No, I don't like that. Fade over. I don't think this is gonna work either. No. So the sliding is what works. Slide over, maybe. Let's try that. Slide over could work if we were moving the circle like across the screen horizontally. For now though, let's just leave it at slide. And duration, so let's change the duration of the animation. So slider in, slider in. So the duration is 2 seconds. Duration is 2 seconds. So we'll set the duration of the slide to 1 second. Actually, we can't add a delay to the slide change. No, we can't. And let me add the interaction to the previous arrow as well. So on mouse click, we'll start an animation, slider in. So when I click the previous or next arrows, it animates. And the way it works here, so it goes like this. Yeah, I wish we could add a delay. So the best way to achieve this effect, I'm not going to use the slider at all. I'm just going to create my own type of slider with images moving in and out of a div block. So that's going to be interesting. Creating a custom slider that way. I would have to kind of, how would I do that? I think I would have to use custom code so that when I click the next button, it triggered a div block. Or, no, I could use the slider. I could still use the slider element, but have the slider trigger div blocks. That's pretty in depth. Okay. Hey Omar, how's it going? Okay, so if I don't get to it today, we'll continue tomorrow. But this is going to be super advanced. I didn't mean to get this, far into interactions and sliders and Lottie. This might be one of the more advanced kind of animations that I've built in Webflow, as far as like using the slider to trigger other elements, and then when those elements trigger, we trigger the Lottie animation. So yeah, this is going to be fun. I'll continue this tomorrow. But Manuel, big props to you for, so first animating, changing the animation to play forward and reverse in After Effects, and then with triggering the animation with the on-click arrows. So what I'm going to do actually, rather than put background images in the slides, I'm going to create div blocks, and when we go to the next slide, I'm going to trigger specific div blocks. I'll see if I can make that work, but it seems that each pic also needs its own mask because they actually have two circles visible while transitioning. Yeah, it seems that each pic also needs its own mask because they actually have two circles visible. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, you're right, Manuel. Let's see, one. Yeah, so there's two. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to study this animation a bit more because it's a bit more in depth than I thought initially. Yeah, so initially, if I can get the timing right, so we'd need two masks, we'd need two circles, and we would need to animate the slider in the exact timing of those circles moving up in unison. All right, I'll study this. We'll get back to this maybe tomorrow. Let's go ahead and finish this Figma. This animation is now going to be on my mind probably for the rest of the day, but we made some progress for sure. I can go ahead and publish. And this looks like my dog here, actually. Looks very similar. Has a similar colors. Not this dog. Yeah, this one. Cool. All right. So yeah, enough with for working on this today. Let's get back to this tomorrow, and that should be fun. And I forgot to move my face again. Great. So let me move my face down here, and let's continue with the landing page build. All right, so yesterday we got pretty far. I even made it responsive in a few minutes. So somebody asked if I could make it responsive, and I went ahead and made it responsive in like 10 minutes. And that's the power of Flexbox. Like, I'm not trying to flex, no pun intended, but that's the power of Flexbox. It makes it really easy to make things responsive. All right, so let's go ahead and add let's go back to this. I'm going to close some of these windows just to keep it clean. Oh yeah, so like I mentioned yesterday, I was working with SVG Gator, It's very basic. I mean, I created this little animation here, like, you know, using the clipping mask, because I was working with masks in SVG Gator and using masks and things like that to see if I could achieve that similar effect for the slideshow. And after messing with it, it just, knowing what After Effects can do, it fell short for me. And then when I tried to export, it exported it as an SVG, not a JSON file, which doesn't really allow me to do a lot with Lottie, and some of the options are limited, and I wanted a few more features, but I have to pay for it. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I have After Effects, so I don't really want to pay for SVG Gator. And again, it's very similar to After Effects. Once you learn the basics of After Effects, you'll have definitely more kind of power with the different features in After Effects and Lottie and body moving. So I can't say I recommend SVG Gator. I mean, if you wanted like some really simple SVG animations, it could work. But again, you'd probably have to upgrade to get the export features that you're looking for. And also when I dragged and dropped into Webflow, the clipping mask in the SVG didn't work. So there was a lot of things that kind of didn't really sell me on SVG Gator. I'd rather use After Effects to create the different animations. All right, so let's get into the partner section here. Let's go ahead and add this. So in the page wrapper, I'll add another section. I'll call this partners section, and I will copy and paste. Oh yeah, let me add the container again. So Command K to add a div block, and I'll give it the class container. So we have a container of max width of 1200, and I'll copy and paste this gallery text here, place it in the container, and I'll copy and paste the subheading. So we'll call this partners. And again, for this section, I'm going to give it a padding from the top of 140 pixels. So we have that distance, and yeah, that's it. And yeah, I'll just export all of these icons. Let me see if I can export these. Yeah, I can export these all at once. So I'm just holding down Shift in Figma to select multiple layers, and I'm going to export them as SVG. Export 6 layers, go into my Finder, double click, and let's see if it exported it correctly. Yes, it did. These are all nice SVG, crispy. SVG is like crispy. So like, think of some crispy food. Like, what's a crispy food? Fries are crispy. That's how I think of SVGs. Well, I don't associate fries with SVG images, but chips are crispy. Like, actually the food analogy is not working, but I love SVGs because they retain the quality of the vector graphic. So PNGs, if you make them bigger, they lose quality. JPEGs, if you make them bigger, lose quality. SVGs do not lose quality. They are vectors. So it just like expands the paths or makes the paths larger without any loss in quality, which I really like. So, one thing when I'm looking at a site, I look at how crisp is it, especially if you're looking at a 4K monitor where the pixels are really precise and there's more pixels on the screen. You can really see if like there's little edges or distortion to an image. So yeah, I love SVG. Yeah, Omar's laughing. Yeah, pretty soon we're going to start using food correlations to learn Webflow, which is not bad. However we learn it is all good. Because right, like we're getting into web development, but who like talks about websites like div blocks, containers? I mean, yeah, if you build websites, you do talk about it in that way, but since it's all visual, you do need some type of like associations or correlations to make it make more sense just to make it make more sense. So yeah, like I like using the idea of Legos, like div blocks as like Legos, or um, let's see, what's another way, or like Russian nested dolls, like you're putting a div and a div and a div to make the structure of your site. Or architecture, I'm sure there's a lot of like associations with architecture and building a website. Anyways, okay, I got way too deep in there. So um, if you have any other analogies, feel free to post them in the chat, um, and we'll see what's the most creative analogy we can associate with web design, or what's the most accurate analogy. Okay, so I'm going to add these div blocks here. So essentially what I'm going to do here is, let me use Miro again. So what I'm going to do for those images, so I'm going to place the images in a wrapper. Yeah, let's see. Okay, that didn't work. Let me set the stroke width to something else. Oh, here we go, thickness. Boom. Okay, so we're going to place them in a wrapper, and then I'm going to place each logo as an image. Okay, you get the picture. I like using actually the marker tool better. I can just draw it out. Boom. We're going to create a wrapper, set it to flex horizontal, and just place the images in here, and boom. Okay. And I do want it to be equidistant, so yeah, we'll work on that. So I'll add a div block, and I'll call this partners. Metaphoric association is the best way to remember things, for sure. I need those a lot, especially if I'm learning something new. I need metaphors and things like that. Partners logo wrapper. Okay, I'm going to set this to 100%. And we added the logo, so I'm just going to click, hold, and drag and place it one by one in the wrapper. And I'm not going to worry about the order for now. I'm just going to drag and drop them in there. And cool. So let's reorder them to the correct order. So we have App Store, this logo, Android. Let's go boop. Android, App Store is the first one. Airbnb, something like this, I think. Cool. And then for this div block, I'm going to set it to flex, and I'll do space between. Okay, and I'll resize this logo wrapper. Let's make it 70%. Cool. I think that looks perfect. Oh, nice. That was easy. Look how easy that was. We have a perfectly aligned space between logo banner here. Yeah, I knew this one wasn't going to take a long time. And we have this button, so I'm just going to copy this button here, paste, and call this all partners. So again, any questions? If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to field questions about personal websites, questions about Webflow, anything related to Webflow while I'm building. And let me add about 40 pixels to the bottom here. I think I need to add more actually, maybe 80. Okay, the partner section is done. Voila. We might finish building this entire thing today. So let's look at tablet. Let's just make it responsive right away. Tablet, let's try to wrap it, see what that looks like. No. show on mobile. I'm just going to set the logo wrapper to 100%. That looks good. What happened to our button? Where'd the button go? Okay. Cool. So we'll set it to 100%. Then on tablet, I don't know if vertical is going to work here. I doubt it. If we set it to vertical, we'd have to set this logo wrapper to maybe 50%. No, maybe 20%. Maybe 10%. I don't know how I feel about that. Set it back to horizontal. Ooh, I like that we made it. Maybe we make the logo smaller. Nope. Looks like the wrapper, 100%. And, or let's just make it 70? No. So I think we're gonna have to make the logo smaller. So I'm just gonna give it the class name logo. 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 And logo. Cool. I'll set it to 50%. What? Okay, 10% works. Okay. That doesn't look bad. We might come back to this. Oh, that actually doesn't look bad. They're really small, but because they're logos, I think the users should still be able to make it out. But yeah, so partner section is done. Let's move on to testimonials. So we have a few more minutes. Yeah, welcome everyone. I see we're getting some new viewers. Welcome to my live stream. This is where I go over everything Webflow. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat, and I'll go over anything regarding Webflow. All right, so let's add the testimonial section. So in the page wrapper, I'll hit Command K. I'll add a section. I'll call this Testimonials section. And we'll add a div block. We'll add the container. And let's add the testimonials. Excuse me. So I'm just going to copy this features heading, paste it in there, and put it in the container, obviously, here. Yeah. And for this section, let's give it padding of 140. Call this testimonials. So one thing I'm going to do at the end of this build is just go through all the spacing and make sure that all the spacing between each section is correct. Because I think we've added, margin to some of the headings and padding, and I just want to fine tune that near the end. All right, so testimonials. So let's go ahead and add these cards. Because these cards aren't the same size, we're going to add 2 columns. So in this container, I'm going to add a div block, and I'm going to call this Testimonials wrapper. I'm going to set it to 100%, and I'm going to add another div block in here. So Command K, div block, and I'm going to say Testimonials left. I'll say, yeah, and then for the testimonials wrapper, we're going to set it to flex and horizontal. We'll do a line stretch and then justify center. And then for the testimonials left, I'm going to say grow if possible. I'm going to hit Command C to copy, Command V to paste. I'm going to duplicate. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to call this testimonials column. Yeah, that works. So we have 2 columns. And then in here, I'm going to set each column to a flex setting of flex, vertical, align stretch, and justify top. Perfect. And then we'll create the testimonial card. So I'll go ahead and add a div block. We're getting close to the end here of time. So if we don't finish this, I'll finish this section tomorrow. So I'm going to add a div block. I'm going to call this Testimonial Card. And for the card, so we're going to have this top section and then this paragraph section. So yeah, I'll open Miro. And basically for the testimonial section, so we have the testimonials wrapper. We have the two columns. Okay, I got to get better with my drawings here. Column 1 and column 2. And then in here, we're going to have our testimonial. This is bad. Okay, in each testimonial card, we're going to have a top and bottom div block. Oh, okay. I will get better with my drawings. It takes a little bit of practice. Okay, so in the testimonial card, we'll add a div block. We'll call this Testimonial Card Top. And we'll add, so we have Testimonial Card Top, and then we'll add another div block in here. And I'll call this Testimonial Card Bottom. Okay, so in the testimonial card top, we have an image. So let me just grab this avatar image right here. And I'll export. And we'll drag and drop that image into Webflow. So we have here, it's an ellipse. That's fine. I don't mind that it's an ellipse. So for this testimonial card top, I'll set the flex setting to flex, horizontal. And then I'll add that image, choose image, and we'll choose the avatar. Cool. And then we'll add, what is it, a text block? Yeah, we'll just add a text block. And we'll call this testimonial title. Yeah, testimonial title. And let me zoom in here. So Claire Bell designer. That guy does not look like a Claire Bell. Getting kind of silly with it today. Inspect. Let's see. Let's look at the text. So the text is 16 by 24. So let's go to the font. Set it to Roboto, a weight of 500. 16 pixels by 24. Change the text to white. And then for the testimonial card top, let me set the flex setting to align center so that this text is centered. Okay, so this image looks like it's too big. Did I get that right? 16 by 24. This image is 50 by 50. So let's change that. 50 pixels by 50. Perfect. And then for the testimonial title, we're going to give it about 20 pixels of margin from the left. Yeah, it's about 10 pixels of margin. Let's do 15. Okay, and then in here we have a paragraph. So I'll just copy this paragraph text. And hello, Abil Fazal. We're getting near the end of our session today, but if you had any questions, feel free to ask. Cool. So this paragraph text is 16 by 24. Is that what we have here? No. So I'm going to call this testimonial paragraph, and we're going to say 16 by 24. All right. And then for the testimonial card, so we have the card. It has a border radius of 10 and a white border radius. So let's go to borders. I really lack at interaction and animations. How can I get better at it? Yeah, just come to my live chats and ask questions. You know, if there's a specific interaction you want to see me build, just let me know. Provide the website. So I think in chat you can't provide links, so just like type out the domain without the .com and stuff, and or add spaces, and I should be able to find an interaction that you reference. Like I only know how to. Yeah, thanks Omar. Thanks for joining. Abil wrote, like I only know how to create those interaction and animations I have learned from YouTube. How can I create my own interaction? Yeah. So Abil, Fazal, I would just say, yeah, look at an interaction that you want to build, and then tomorrow even just send me a link to it, and if you want to drop me a super chat, because that would be like a super chat feature where you need help with a specific animation or interaction. Depending on the interaction, I'll take a look and see if I want to cover it, or if it's more of like something for your personal project. But yeah, send me a link and we'll decide tomorrow if we want to cover it. But yeah, this is a good channel to learn more about interactions and up your interactions game, just because I've built so many. Like I'm pretty knowledgeable, and then we have people like Manuel who just have great ideas on how to approach things. So again, this can be like a really good discussion on how to build. Yeah, if you have an interaction, I'll first start building it, and then the community can chime in, or viewers, users in the chat can chime in as well. All right, I was a bit busy and will be coming tomorrow on time. I am so excited to learn from you. Thank you, Bill. I might start calling you A, because your name is a bit long to pronounce. But no, I'll pronounce your full name. I'll call you. I just hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So yeah, let me finish building out this card, and then we'll call it for today. So the testimonial card, so I'll select it, and we'll add a border, and we'll make it white, and we'll add a radius of 10 pixels. All right, and then for this, so let's see. So we're gonna add some padding to the testimonial card. So I'm gonna hold down Shift to add padding. Oh, someone wrote, I always talk about houses with my clients to make them understand building websites. Yeah, that's a good analogy. So I'm gonna add a good amount of padding here, maybe 60 pixels of padding to the card. And then for the testimonial card top, I'm gonna add about 40 pixels. No, that's too much. 20 pixels. Did anybody see Shang-Chi? It was a really great movie. I don't know why I'm throwing that in there right now, but really enjoyed that movie. Highly recommend it. Cool. So we have this card. I'm gonna add some margin to this card as well. It feels a little bit too big. So I'm gonna hold down Option and add about 40 pixels of margin to the left and the right. So we have a more condensed card. Cool. I like that. I like it a lot. So it looks like these cards are wider than these cards. I get the feeling. Or maybe not. Okay. Yeah, why are they different height? This one's larger in height. Oh, this one has more text. Oh, I think they messed up here in this Figma file. Yeah. The only reason... Oh, that's misleading a little bit. The only reason this one's taller is because it has an extra line of text in there. All right, that's fine. We won't get too picky. So we have our testimonial card built. I'm just going to paste it in there. And then for the testimonial card, let's give it some margin of like 40 pixels. Then I'll go into this column, paste the card in there, and paste it twice. All right, that looks pretty good. And you know what? Let me remove the margin from Okay, 1 second. So yeah, it just has this extra line in here. So this first one just has that extra line. That's why these don't line up correctly, but that's okay. So for the margin, I'm going to remove the margin from the cards and just add margin, or actually just left margin. Oh, this is going to be kind of tricky. No, it's not. Okay, I got this. Okay, so for the card, I'll remove the margin. Yeah, Abil, I'll be happy to see you tomorrow, for sure. So for this left column, I'm going to give it padding of 40 from the left. And this column, I'm going to give it a combo class of 2 and give it padding 40 from the left, from the right. And remove this padding here. And this one I'm going to add. Okay, so 10 from here and 10 here. Because they're a little bit closer in the center. So if we look here, actually, let's do 20. So 20 on each. So 20 here and 20 here. Oops. All right. It's still too large. 15. I'm getting too picky with it. Yeah, let's do 15. 15's okay. All right, so we have our cards, and I would just need to, let me add some margin here to this test. Actually, let's add it to the card testimonials wrapper. So whenever I'm considering what element to apply to, usually I like to do it, apply bottom margin, but sometimes it depends. Like if I'm going to affect a heading that's being used across multiple instances, and I don't want to change the properties across the different headings. So if I were to add like margin to the bottom of this one, it would be added to this one, and it would just throw off the site. So here I'm just going to add it to the testimonials wrapper. I'm going to add a top margin of like 60 pixels. So we add some spacing there. And yeah, the last thing I'll do is just export each of these images. I know it's kind of tedious, but just so I don't have to do it tomorrow. So export this ellipse. Then we have this one. And we'll export this one. And then we'll export this one. Oops, I exported that one twice. Is that the one? All right, cool. Can't really see them. Okay, did we get them all? I think we got them all. So let me go into the assets panel. And this one, and this one. All right. And actually for this one, let me remove the width and the height and just make it high DPI. There we go. Because it's 100 by 100, and if we make it high DPI, it shrinks it to be half the size. So this one I think is this. Yep, image is high DPI. Replace image. Image is high DPI. And then this one. Image is high DPI. Okay, cool. So we have our testimonial section. It looks fairly similar. Yeah, I think we did pretty good. A self-taught person like me who literally learned UI UX from YouTube and Udemy, people like you are like a guardian angel for me. Whenever I'm in trouble or stuck at Webflow, you are there to help me. Absolutely. That is the goal of this live stream. I'm hoping, it builds momentum and we can definitely get more people coming to the live stream. I'm trying to think of ways maybe to promote this. so that anybody struggling with Webflow or needing help can come to me. Obviously, Webflow has an amazing like support team and amazing web university videos. But if I can add to that help, that's I'll be happy to do that. Um, most of my days, working on templates, for the Webflow marketplace, and creating cool interactions, expanding my own knowledge of web design. So yeah, I'm just here to help. I know websites are in high demand, and I'm yet to find a program like Webflow out there. There's nothing to me that touches Webflow. With how to build, like all the features they offer, how closely related the features are to actual web development. Like everything's visual, but it stays very true to the web design core concepts that professional coders and developers use. So like, what more can you ask than that? It's like, if there's something that you want to do with code, you can do it in Webflow pretty much. And you can even add custom code in Webflow if there's something that they haven't added yet. So, yeah, it's just an amazing program. And it's, I don't want to downplay where I was just about to say something bad about WordPress, but to me, it's just like there's a lot less pain when working with Webflow than working with WordPress. WordPress, you have to, yeah, to me, WordPress is just like an unlimited amount of plugins and ways to approach a build in WordPress with different third-party features that I wouldn't know. Like, to me, it gets daunting to know where to start sometimes in WordPress. And I know there's developers who have gotten really good with WordPress, but to me, Webflow is just the all-in-one package that makes designing and building just so much more easier, efficient, better. I could name a list of adjectives. Indeed, Webflow is just the perfect tool. I really hope they're going to develop and improve forever. Yeah, I think that's the goal. I think that's Vlad's goal. He definitely wants to keep improving the product and making it the best web design development platform on the web, which to me it pretty much already is. And just with more features being added, it's just going to be like, I can't imagine how many people are going to start using Webflow once like these main features get added that people have been looking for, like creating web apps and, things like that. I can't say too many things about Webflow because I work there, so I don't want to give anything away or talk too much about Webflow. But yeah, No Code Conf I think is going to be like a pivotal moment for Webflow. So definitely, I'm going to be watching the live stream because I can't make it to California. But yeah, I think I'll make it to one of the Webflow conferences because I've just made so many friends working at Webflow. So definitely, maybe next year I'll probably be there. WordPress isn't for me. I am a guy who loves to design website from scratch using my own creativity, and Webflow is perfect. Absolutely. I 100% agree. Did we finish this? I think we finished this section. Oh yeah, let's make it responsive. Okay. You know what? No, that's fine. 2 columns is fine. So for the testimonials wrapper, let's just change it to vertical. That looks cool. And then the testimonial column will set the same padding on the right, so it's in the center. And then for this testimonial column, we'll add padding on the right as well. And let's make this center. So for the testimonial card, let's add a flex setting, vertical and center. No, let's do align left. Yeah, align left. And then we'll add more padding to the column. Something like this, like 120. Yeah, that works well. Or I could give a specific width to the card, but we'll just add padding for now. 120. And that looks good. Okay, we just made it responsive. And let's go to tablet, Oh yeah, mobile landscape. So mobile landscape, we're just gonna set the padding to like 40. And we're gonna fine tune all this near the end, just to make sure it's, it looks good. Here we're gonna set the padding to maybe, no, 0. We're gonna set it to 0 on mobile landscape. All right, and then the padding on the testimonial card, we'll set it to 20. Maybe 40, or yeah, 40. Let's do 40. Cool. So we have a responsive site, a responsive section. Boom, 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 and boom. So we'll publish, and then tomorrow, so Abil Fazal wrote, the only edge WordPress has over Webflow is e-commerce. Apart from that, I would never go for WordPress. Yeah, to be honest, I built an e-commerce site in WordPress, and it was a nightmare. I hired an agency to build a site in WordPress back when I was doing Muse for You, and it was a nightmare. I actually switched that site to Webflow completely and used a third-party e-commerce integration. I would say stay tuned for e-commerce because there's amazing features coming out, and yeah, stay tuned for that. Like, I know there's WooCommerce in WordPress, but the hosting, like, to run it was crazy, right? I hired an agency to build the site, and they did a good job with design. Like, a lot of my branding that you see is from the agency. Like, they built the logo and some of the branding guidelines and the colors. But they built the site in WordPress, and my hosting, like, I would need to like get some crazy hosting for the speed of the site to be good. And by that time, I had already invested quite a good amount of money to build the site and design it and all that. And that's just because I wanted to grow my business. Before Muse ended development, I just wanted to grow my business and make it more legit, like have memberships and subscriptions, all in one in WordPress. And so I paid a good amount of money to kind of expand the business, but then Muse announced the end of development, which didn't work out well. But long story short, yeah, my site was in WordPress. It was a nightmare. I probably should have left it how I had it before. Like, I was using like Big Cartel, was like a e-commerce shop that I was using, along with my homepage was built in Muse. But long story short, the site was slow. Even adding content to the site was super slow. And that's just something I can't deal with. I can't handle slow loading websites or trying to edit a website when the server's slow. And then, it would have cost me more money to get quicker hosting or have them improve the hosting or the speed of the hosting. So all that to say, Webflow provides like industry standard hosting, super fast hosting, all in one. Like, you get the designer, you get super fast hosting, you get it all with like Webflow. Like, that's why I switched, because I'm building a site and I don't have to wait like anything. Like, there's no delay. Like, it's quick. It all depends on like the speed of your internet. Obviously, if you have really slow internet, it's not going to work great, but nowadays everyone I think has like super fast internet. So anyways, went on a little tangent there. So let me read a few more chats. So yeah, all that to say, Bill Fazal, is stay tuned. I think Webflow is going to really improve their e-commerce solution. Manuel wrote, you can actually also build from scratch with WordPress together with the plugin toolset and CSS knowledge. It's very powerful. True. You can build literally anything with very complex, sophisticated content types, dependencies. However, Webflow is much more fun. Absolutely. Talking about WordPress, WebDev for you, did you ever bring a Webflow design to WordPress? No, I've never done that. I don't think I would ever do that. No. I might go from WordPress to Webflow, but not from Webflow to WordPress. Just because I've used Webflow so much, I don't see any need to to switch back to. I would never. I don't think in a million. Yeah, obviously, you can never say never, but I don't think I don't have any desire to go back to WordPress after building so much in Webflow and knowing the power of Webflow and what it offers. Okay, did we finish this? Yeah, I think I published. I keep going off on tangents. So let's look at the site. We have this little animation. It's not bad. Kind of want to improve that a little bit, but that's not bad right now. We have this section, contents, gallery, partners, and testimonials. And it's responsive. Yay. Oh, this needs work. These images. And yeah, we'll fine tune everything near the end. This mobile nav needs a lot of finessing and kind of fine tuning and care. Someone else says, I'm just asking because so many clients insist on WordPress here in Germany. Yeah, I can see how that can be an issue. I would try to sell them on Webflow, honestly, and show them the editor, like they can edit things in the editor. Yeah. So Mohammed wrote, what's a good way to make scroll animation like the one in Oreo website made by Joseph Barry? Let me check that out, Mohammed. But yeah, let me just finish my thought with this build here. So yeah, we finished the testimonial section. Tomorrow we'll build this. So let's see. Yeah, this looks pretty easy. It's just an image and some text and a button. And look at that, we're almost done with this build. So in a couple of days, and I would say this was like 3 hours max on this site, right? So, you know, if you want to get into web development and make a business out of it, like check out my last recent videos where we built this site. It literally took me 2-3 hours to build a simple site like this. And this has no real bells and whistles, just text and images, and we added a little animation here. So keep watching because you can learn a lot from these live streams. Okay, so let's check out the Oreo website. And which animation? Is it this one? That looks more like of a video, Mohammed. If you can tell me which animation you were referring to. Excuse me. Is it this one? This looks like an SVG maybe that they added here. And that's cool. One cool thing about like SVGs and things like that, you can add sections like this where it's not just a straight line. So you can get real creative with how you want your sections to look. So let me just read what Abil wrote. Abil Fazal. Most of my clients find Webflow hosting expensive, even though I tell them the advantages over normal hosting, but they tend to stay with normal hosting. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I would just, I don't know how far I would push it as far as trying to sell the client on Webflow hosting, but there's a really great article on, that Webflow has on hosting. So Webflow hosting, what to look for. Like, you could even go to this page, like, and just read this page and then try to sell your clients even more with some of the things like the scaling that Webflow has with their hosting, the CDN they use, and make sure that the site loads quickly across the world. Like the things Webflow offers is like top notch, and they're using the Amazon CDN. So what's it called? What's the Amazon CDN? I should know this. I've seen it so many times. What's Amazon CDN? There's a specific name for it. Web3? No. Here, let me find the article. So what to look for in Webflow hosting. So yeah, just go to this blog, what to look for in Webflow hosting, and there's so many things. Yeah, AWS, Amazon Web Services. Like they're using state-of-the-art technology for the hosting, and that's not something you get from like every hosting provider. Like Webflow just like is using the top-notch technology to offer like really great hosting, and this article covers all of that in detail. So highly recommend this article. I'll go ahead and post in here. if you want to share with your client and be like, hey, like Webflow just has the best hosting. Like nothing really touches what sorry, nothing really touches the hosting that Webflow offers. Okay, so I'll just read a few more comments and chats, and then we might call it for today. Most of my clients find read that. Thank you, Manuel. See that we can create a website from scratch on WordPress, but I've been using WordPress for the past 4 years now. Using Webflow for 1 year, and I already have decided. Very cool. To go for Webflow. Thanks. Wait a second. I will share a link. Okay, so Mohammed, this is So the chat function doesn't allow for links. I guess it only allows me to post links, but and it probably makes sense because there's people that might get into the chat and post some weird links. So maybe try typing it out with spaces in it, so it's not a link, and I'll be able to see it. Not only in Germany, clients from around the world prefer WordPress because they just haven't heard from someone that is famous and is used to build a website. Yeah, WordPress has more maybe traction. But in the long run, I think Webflow has the edge in the long term. It's just going to take more, once more features come out in Webflow that people are looking for, and I think Webflow is doing a great job. They have the engineers and the right people, I think, or the people to make Webflow like the all-in-one solution that everyone's looking for. Okay, so Mohammed, I'll wait a few more minutes and for that link, and if not, we can pick it up tomorrow, and I can check out the animation. Yeah, cool. All right, so we'll go over. Yeah, this website's looking good. I like the dark theme here. Yeah, tomorrow we'll cover this animation too, to try to get to this. I might work on this a little bit more today and see if we can build it in After Effects. All right, 2 more minutes. I went way over today. Not sure why I keep doing that. They don't know pros and cons of WordPress, and they literally don't know about Webflow. Yeah, I understand. But yeah, if you can try to sell them on it, Webflow has a ton of resources that you can share with your clients and be like, hey, like, they probably would save money in the long run because they don't need hosting from an external, from a third-party provider. They only need the domain from the third-party provider, but then they don't have to pay for hosting. They can pay for the Webflow hosting, but it might come out to the same cost as paying for WordPress hosting somewhere else, unless their hosting is free. But how good is your hosting going to be really if it's free? That's my take on it. Hey Paul, what's up? Yeah, I saw you messaged me on Instagram. I don't know if I got a message back, but let me check real quick. I'm not the greatest social media person, just being transparent. That's why I like these live chats, because people can just reach me live chat. Let's see, where do I look at my messages? So I'm bringing most of my clients. Yes, the hosting which stops them. Yeah, I would just tell them that, Webflow has hosting and they can stop paying for their hosting elsewhere and use Webflow hosting. Yeah, we'll reach on Dribble. Yeah, I think, you reached out to me on Dribble. Cool. Yeah, feel free to email me too from my website, like webdevforyou.com, and we can correspond via email. That might be the best way. Like I have a contact form at webdevforyou.com, and that might be the best way. Okay. All right. So, Paul, you kind of caught me near the end of this session. So, feel free, like, just send me an email through my contact form here, and we'll correspond via email. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks Manuel. Thanks Mohammed. Thanks Abil Fazal. I'm sure there's a few other ones. Thanks Paul for coming in, for joining. Thanks Omar. Always good to see you. Thanks Jonathan for joining. Cool. So we got 131 playbacks. That I'm very happy with that. Keep spreading the word about these live streams. I think as Webflow picks up more steam and more momentum and everyone starts hearing about Webflow, there's already a good community and a large user base for Webflow, but I think Webflow is going to gain so much traction in the next year or so, in the next few months, maybe the next 6 months, that I want to be a great resource for anyone using Webflow to just jump in and, if they started building and they have a question, I want these live streams to be a good resource for everyone. Yes, thanks Manuel. All right, everyone, have a great rest of the day. Enjoy building in Webflow. Keep any questions in mind that you might have for tomorrow, and I'll be happy to go over them. Mohammed, I didn't get the Oreo link, so hopefully you'll be able to send that. And yeah, so see everyone tomorrow. Thanks.